Hello, everyone. My name is Stanley St. Rose, and today we're going to talk about Bliss by Katherine Mansfield. Now, before I go into summary analysis of this work, please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and/or comment so that the channel can continue to grow. All right. Don't listen to the title. All right. Yes, it's called Bliss. And yes, there's moments of bliss, but this is not a blissful short story, okay? This it's just not it, all right? That's not what's going on here, okay? So we meet Bertha. Bertha, she has everything she could possibly want. She has Harry, who's her husband. He's making money. They have a wonderful home. Things are great. They have a maid. They have a nanny. They have a little bee. So they have a kid, and everything is great. I mean, it's this wonderful family. Bertha has everything that she could possibly want. This is just great. Money, successful husband. She's in her early 30s. Things are going well. So there's plenty reasons why Bertha should be feeling bliss, right? She should be happy because she's a mother, she's a wife, she has money. She's not worried about the future or tomorrow. Everything is great. There's a dinner party within this work. The nights come. They're this couple. They have a normal, regular marriage, husband and wife, right? Normal. Then there's Eddie. He's a poet. You know, he has his ideas about life and things that he brings into the work. Then you have Miss Fulton. Now, Miss Fulton is interesting. She plays a very interesting role within this work. So this is Bertha's life. Nice little dinner parties, her wonderful husband providing the money, a beautiful home, a maid, a nanny, a child. Things are great. This is the reason why you should be living in bliss, because most people on the planet, in fact, most people in all of human history, this is what you would describe bliss as: having a good amount of money or lots of money, a beautiful home, and being able to host dinner parties such as this, right? Right. But no, this is not bliss, okay? This is not bliss. Here's what happens, right? Let's get to the meat and potatoes here. Here's what happened. Here's the tea, all right? Let's get down to it. Bertha, number one, she doesn't have strong desires for her husband. It's almost like the husband has these desires for his wife, but the wife, she's not like gung ho about her husband. uh, these physical, romantic desires. It's her husband. She loves her husband. She loves her family. She loves her life. But she doesn't have these strong feelings, this strong tie towards her husband. Okay. Um. Now, Miss Fulton, on the other hand, it's ambiguous. We're not entirely sure if it's romantic, if it's physical. She just admires Miss Fulton. When she brings in Miss Fulton into the party, she leads her first into the dining room. When she touches Miss Fulton, grabs her arm, she feels this heat, this warmth. It's kind of strange. I mean, two women holding each other. I don't know why there should be some feeling of warmth and heat. So that's a little bit strange. And Bertha wants to show Miss Fulton her pear tree and her house, her garden, and she very admires the opinion of Miss Fulton. So Miss Fulton matters to Bertha, right? Very. I mean, you can have a close friend, but this is very tender. The relationship between these two women are very tender. Now nothing happens. Everything is ambiguous here, but strange, because Bertha really gives some more attention to Miss Fulton than the other guests. Now, here's the twist here. Harry also gives Miss Fulton some good attention to the point where he's touching some shoulders, people. Because within the work, Harry touches Miss Fulton's shoulders. Now, when you're a married man, shoulders are off. They're off the table, okay? When you have a wife, you don't want your wife to catch you touching some other woman's shoulders. Because, I mean, you can give a handshake, even a side hug, even a church hug. Fine. We can have some limitations. But grabbing some shoulders? Oh, that's illegal. No, no. A husband full on grabbing some shoulders, it's a little bit unusual. What's going on? And then, to add some salt to the wound, he's exchanging some loving looks with Miss Fulton? What's going on here? So Bertha does have some problems within this work, and her rosy world doesn't seem rosy by the end of the work. Now, there's a lot of things that happen. The dinner party happens, there's lots of conversations, the knights have some conversations with, Eddie jumps into it, Miss Fulton jumps into it, there's cigarettes, Harry jumps into it, Bertha jumps into it, they're eating, they're having fun. It's a dinner party, of course. And eventually the knights go away and Eddie and Miss Fulton go away. But before everybody leaves, after the party is over, we have these interactions with Harry trying to put on Miss Fulton's coat, help her put on her coat. But the coat goes away because, Harry has to put his paws on them shoulders. All right, he had to put them paws on Miss Fulton's shoulders, and we know that Bertha also wants Miss Fulton to look at her pear tree. Now this is not lingo for some other type of wording here. Bertha actually wanted Miss Fulton to see her pear tree. Now keep in mind within the work, Bertha saw these cats following each other. Right. These cats were following each other within the work. Right. So there's a lot of, meaning underneath certain things that happen within this work. There's a lot of ambivalent things that are happening within this work. It's almost like, is there a relationship, a romantic, a sexual relationship even, between Harry and Miss Fulton? There's parts where Harry is rude with Miss Fulton within this work, and there's part where he looks to be loving and touchy with Miss Fulton, and there are parts where Bertha herself looks to be very close and touchy with Miss Fulton. So we don't really know. There's different interpretations of what may be going on here. Some people say there's an affair. Some people say there's not enough evidence. Some people say that maybe Bertha has these romantic feelings maybe for Miss Fulton, but we're not entirely sure. Okay, we're not entirely sure. I mean, there's ample of evidence to prove things either way. When Bertha says she doesn't usually have these regular intense feelings for her husband, because within this work she wants the guest to leave so she can be alone with Harry. Yeah, maybe there's a sexual component to that. Maybe not. Because she doesn't usually feel these desires for her husband. So does that open some doorways? Maybe Bertha wants some action between her and Miss Fulton? Is Miss Fulton looking that way towards Bertha? We don't know. Is there an affair going on between Miss Fulton and Harry? Well, we don't know. They do have an appointment. They are going to meet. They set up a meeting to meet each other, Harry and Miss Fulton, right? So the work ends it's ambivalent. We don't know what's going to happen, but Bertha is certainly not in bliss when it ends, because she's like, there's something going on with my husband and Miss Fulton, and also I have certain feelings for Miss Fulton. Now again, in terms of deeper meaning analysis here, we don't know. We don't know. Either or. Is there an affair going on? Does Bertha like Miss Fulton a different way, or maybe not. So Bliss, it's just, it's not bliss. There's a lot of anxiety here, a lot of stress. You know, we're really following Bertha in her mind. Her mind is thinking all these things. Maybe there's nothing going on between Miss Fulton and Harry. Maybe he was just grabbing her shoulder. I don't, okay, I have to say, I mean, it's kind of strange. The grabbing the shoulders part, it's really weird to grab a woman's shoulders when there's nothing going on. I mean, it's just a weird place of the body to grab when there's nothing. I mean, hand on hips, hand on shoulders, um, you know, hand on knees or thighs. It's really hard to for a man to touch a woman in those areas when there's no sexual component to it, because it you to touch a person in those places there has to be a reason. I mean, you can't. I mean, if you hold a person's arm or hand, yeah, you could just be helping someone. So that could be interpreted differently. But when you're touching legs and shoulders, these places, you know, these are more intimate places of the body, and well, it yeah, it conveys different things. So there's definitely room here for Bertha to be worried and concerned that her husband might be, and also the fact that there's loving gazes, and the fact that Miss Fulton and Harry are going to meet in the future definitely um, shows like red flags on the field, you know. So yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I mean, Harry does have a wonderful home with Bertha. They have a kid together. They're married, and Bertha is young. She's in her early 30s, so it's not like she's old. And I mean, they are married. They are together, and it doesn't really seem like there's a problem with their marriage. So again, a lot of things are unsure here. Um, you know, Bliss is definitely not Bliss because not everything is happy in this work. So there's a lot to take into consideration. Is Bertha overthinking? Maybe, maybe not. Is Harry overstepping? Definitely. If you have a wife, you shouldn't be touching another woman's shoulders. I don't care. If she's falling over, grab her arm. If she needs help, um, you know, I mean, don't be grabbing shoulders. It's just kind of, yeah, it's yeah, it's a little bit disturbing because you're a whole married man, you know. So yeah, there's a lot to be taken here. We do have to take into consideration the Knights. The Knights are a different couple. They seem to be just a loving couple that's satisfied with each other. Eddie is this poet that is just, you know, more towards ambition and his own views in life. And Harry and Bertha are unconventional because, well, it seems like they might not be satisfied within their marriage, and certainly Bertha's not satisfied because, well, she doesn't really have this strong obsession or desire for her husband. There's different types of love. There's people who are madly in love to the point of obsession. There's people that are just married because it fits what they're looking for. And there's some people that just married just because. So I think the Knights are content within their marriage. So it's a great juxtaposition, a great comparison, a great compare contrast between the Knights and Harry and Bertha because the marriages are different. And even though there's some bliss because of the money, the place in life, and the guests, there's definitely some rocky things within this work too. So it's not bliss. I would rather call this work, this short story, I would rather call it turbulence. Because, you know, when you get an airplane, it's bliss when the plane is like flying as it's supposed to. But really, sometimes it gets turbulent and your flight is not so blissful. So, Yeah, I would like turbulence better as a title here. Um, but Katherine Mansfield is definitely talking about a lot of things here when it comes to relationships, conventional and non-conventional, and what can come about within these relationships. Yeah. Well, that's all I have to say about this work. Please remember to leave a like, subscribe, and or comment. And I will see you guys in the next video.